Hey, all my women's out there, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, I am your host, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to bring you another episode of After the Pull. Guys, these are comic books that I am most highly anticipating, and hopefully they live up to the hype. But this week, instead of doing a video, I just said, you know what? I'm going to do a live stream. Why not do it this way just for this 1 week? I was like coming in here in the garage and I'm like, let's try it, instead of doing all the editing. So I think this is going to be a pretty fun video. Hopefully I'll get some viewers on here again. It was a spur of the moment thing. So, I'm not expecting a big audience. I think so far I have like one viewer. So plus it's lunch hour, plus people are at work. So again, I'm not expecting anything big. But when it comes to After the Poll, this is the video series, like I said, where I take some of my most highly anticipated comics. I count them down all the way to number one. And you know what? If it lives up to the hype, you'll find out if it's my definitive top five when I do Comic Book Weekly with my friends. Every Tuesday night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern. So that's why I do this, to give you guys a little insight of some of the comics I read, and then you'll find out the rest on Comic Book Weekly. So we got a couple people on here. So we have Elliot that joins the show, and then we have Killafire. Is that how you say your name? And IE is one, and then we have another one. It's my day off, yo. And Jenny's comic life is so you don't have a job. Sean says, "What's up, Mike? I'm watching at work." I have a job. I've told you guys I've had a job. I am a tennis instructor. I'm a head tennis pro at a park, but most of my hours take place from like 4 o'clock on. So I work in the afternoons, and in the morning times I take my kids to school, and then I pick them up from school. So from the hours of like 9 to like 12:30, 1 o'clock, I'm free. So this is what I do with that spare time. Mike likes smacking balls. There we go. If that's what you want to call it, that's awesome. I got 14 viewers on the show, so we're going to have a fun time talking about some of these comic books that I read. As you guys know, there are spoilers on these reviews, so if you want to just like plug your ears when I talk about certain comics, go ahead. It might not be full-on spoilers, but that's all good. It's kind of funny how I decided to do this live show today. It's like the hottest day of the year in freaking Florida right now, and I decided to do this today. I'm in my garage. I got this fan blowing. Ain't doing diddly squat at all. So I'm like, you know what? Why not do it, right? Who cares if you sweat? You sweat enough at tennis. So we got a couple other people in there. Lad says, good morning. Joshua 790 says, what's up, Mike? I'm glad you guys are able to tune into this show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun just getting you guys, piling up here so I can start so you guys don't miss it live. Real quick question. How many comics did you guys all read? I want to know in the comments below. How many of you read so far? Did you read your whole stack? Did you read like 3? Did you read 4 comics? Let me know in the comments below. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. So the books that we're going to be talking about today, I'm going to let you know in no particular order. We're going to be talking about A Town Called Terror, Shadow War Zone, Life Zero, World's Finest #3. We're going to be talking about Savage Avengers, Thor Issue 25. So we're going to be talking about those books and a whole lot more, guys. Elliot says, Mike, I am the tennis player. I am a tennis player as well. Captain of my own USTA 4.5 team. I thought about coaching someday as well. You probably beat my butt in tennis. I haven't played like competitive tennis in a very long time. I've been instructing now for 14 years. So when I hit, balls around, I hit them for fun or I instruct or whatnot. But I started playing tennis when I was 11 years old. And it's a lot of fun, man. All right, so you guys ready? Let's dive into this. I got 17 viewers. Sean didn't read any comics this week. I'm sorry, Sean. But if you guys have any comments, questions, anything at all, just let me know in the comments below and I'll get to your comment as soon as possible. Okay. All right. So here we go, guys. We're going to kick off my 8th favorite book so far this week. And again, all these rankings are subject to change. That's why you got to watch Comic Book Weekly every Tuesday night at 10:15, where I'm with Brant and Kat, and we have a fun time. All right, so here we go. Number 8 this week goes to Shadow War Alpha. Now, I was a little hesitant about this book a little bit, but I've been collecting all the Shadow War stuff. It's been a solid read overall as a Batman event. And I was like, well, I know it's kind of like Tales, but I was like, you got to complete it, right? So I wound up getting this main cover. And I wound up getting that homage from the Days of Future Past cover as well. But the big kicker of this is I wound up getting this Angel Breaker variant. So I want to get in that one. And this one was pretty cool. I paid $13 for it. And I'm like, well, if anything that I get out of the Shadow War Tales will be that variant cover, right? And I knew that she was going to be in this book. I guess that's why she was on the cover as well. Did I say, what did I say? Shadow War? You mean Shadow? You mean Warzone? Yeah, Shadow Warzone. I don't even know what I said, so I apologize about that. But anyway, this book's artwork in like the main story actually looked pretty good. I really enjoyed that artwork there. We got Black Canary in this book. She looks pretty nice as well. And we learn a little bit more about Angel Breaker in this issue, about her relationship with Black Canary. And you find out that Black Canary is this sensei to Angel Breaker. And we never knew this before. So Angel Breaker is a very mysterious character. They wind up fighting pretty briefly in this book. And out of all the stories in this issue, this was the one that was worth reading, right? You get a second story in here with Talia and her best friend. Like Talia jumps off a cliff and she gets resurrected from the Lazarus pits. And then you get this other story with Ghostmaker. Yeah, Ghostmaker, right? In here. And he's like testing Clown Hunter. And it was just a very forgettable story. And my theory when it comes to Ghost Hunter is that I think he's going to like betray Batman. I think he's going to be jealous of Batman. He makes all these wise cracks. He's like, oh, don't listen to Batman. Listen to me. Batman put me in charge. Batman's not in charge of this and that. So when it comes to Shadow War Zone, right? It's not a must. Only I think if you're interested in the story of Angel Breaker, and if you could get your hands on that variant cover, I think that's where it will pay off for you. But otherwise, for the $6 that it costs for this book, definitely not worth it in my opinion. So, yeah. Okay. So Killfire said, you said alpha. Yeah, I guess I did. So I'm going to say shit that I definitely don't mean in this live stream, of course, because it's not edited, right? So you get to see me live and raw, and I'm not talking with my friends or just talking. I'm just talking here by myself and with you guys. All right. So next we have Andrew, who's on the show. He says, dang it, I was excited to watch live, but no, I have to go to a meeting. I'll catch the replay. Enjoy, everyone. Oh, that sucks, Andrew. Andrew's been also a longtime supporter of the actual show. And of course, he has to go to a meeting. That's what sucks, like doing live streams during the week. It's like you never know what audience you're going to get, right? All right. Next, we're going to come in at number 7. And number 7 winds up going to a book that I really enjoyed in the first issue. And I enjoyed this issue as much. It's just like, it's very like decompressed storytelling. And there's not a lot of dialogue in the book. But this is called A Town Called Terror. This is issue 2. What makes this book so well done is the actual artwork in this book. It's so like supernatural, like it's so dark. I mean, it's so dark that it's kind of hard to make out kind of like what's going on a lot of the times in the series. So I was like, oh, wow. But check out this 2-page spread in here, man. That's pretty badass right there. I really enjoyed the way this book looked. And really what happens in this story is that you get this guy that was kidnapped, and his wife thinks he like died. And so she's like trying to find out what happened to him, or if he was actually kidnapped, and she wasn't really getting any answers. But in this issue, you finally get a detective that's like, okay, for some weird reason, when we look up videotape, we get all this weird static, and he's definitely has gone somewhere. So now the wife has this detective working on her side. And also in this issue, you wind up getting to meet the guy that disappeared. Was his name Henry? I don't remember, but you wind up him coming with his father, and he hates his dad. He hates this supernatural family, and all he wants to do is get like back to his family. And it was very interesting. You meet the sister, you meet the brother, and he's very angry at his brother, and he like tears him apart and stuff. And he was called back to his home because his mother wound up going missing. So he has to find his mother. And this family has all these supernatural abilities. They all do something different, and you're not exactly sure what it is that they do. You do know that the father like has this knack from coming back from the dead, but you don't know anything else about any of these other characters. So you get a little bit of more plot development. You don't get a lot of the other characters. It's very mysterious. That's what I like about it. But the art is almost too dark because you can't make out everything of what's going on. But it is an interesting read. I'm going to stick with it. And we'll see where it goes. I love horror books. So, and this also was not just horror, but this had a lot of gore in it. So be prepared for that as well. So A Town Called Terror, I say recommend it. I say pick it up if you can find issue 1, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think of, this book if you have actually read it. Anytime you guys want to ask questions, go for it. In between each book, I'm going to answer your questions, and we're going to go through them. Let's see where we're at. Sebastian on the show. Hey, Slayer, haven't read my books yet because my wife and I have been preparing to move. Hate moving, but it has to be done. Man, oh man, I hate moving. I'm hoping I'm done with moving. I moved so many times in the past few years. It's been ridiculous. I think in the past 5 years, I moved 3 times. One time I went to a rental. Then one time I moved literally next door to another rental. And then I moved to this house, and we've been in this house now for, I think, exactly 3 years now. So, and I love this house, and I would hate to move because then I would have to move all this stuff. And that's the last thing I want to do, right? On top of it. Facebook user says, hey, Mike, how's it going? So welcome. And then let's see. My store didn't get many copies of Terror, so I missed it. I can see that. When it comes to these independent comic books, I say go out there and let your shop know you want to put it on your pull list. Then give it a couple issues, and then if you don't like it, then take it off your pull list. That's how you can kind of guarantee yourself at least a copy. Or if you like the first one, then put it on your pull list, right? All right, here we go. We got Cali Comics, watching at work. That's the way to do it, man. You got to watch at work. All right, next we got Jamie Cruz C. Just subscribe. Go on, Mike. Yes, thank you for the subscription. And Cali says, Terror has some amazing covers and story is okay so far. Absolutely agree. So thank you guys. And I thank you for all the support. Make sure you give this video a like. It definitely helps the show. Let people know that my channel exists. Just a couple of things. If you ever want to donate to the channel, I just want to throw this out there. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but in case you ever decided that you wanted to donate to the channel, you can always throw in a super chat. Again, your like and your subscription helps that much more. Commenting helps that much more. And then also there's this new thing that you can not do this on live streams anymore, but there's this thing called super thanks, where you watch a video and next to the, I think, thumbs down or download, there's this thing called super thanks, and on any video now you can get send a greeting card to your favorite YouTuber, and you can put an amount of a donation to the channel, and or you could become a member of the channel as well. So when you do these live streams, you get like super stickers and you get all this crazy emoji stuff. So it's just just some little stuff that help that, the channel, maybe not my channel, but even other channels out. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I never feel like you guys need to have to do it. It's just out there. Okay. All right. So Steve says, let's see, what does Steve say? Steve says, hey, Mike, great to catch a live stream. And I appreciate you guys watching, because I never get to do live streams by myself. I'm always very busy, whether it's reading these comics or doing the videos, or I'm at home doing family stuff. And I just had the opportunity today where I am by myself, and I was able to just focus on doing comics, and I could do this live stream without being interrupted. So I was like, you know what? Let's just do this week. I did it in the past before, but I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to actually tune in and talk to me live. Jaime says, or Jamie says, are editorial staff on the big two strong, or are they failing to deliver good content? Listen, when it comes to that stuff, obviously you guys know how I feel when it comes to comics, on the way I read them and explain them and recommend them to you, right? I don't go too much into depth about all the nonsense that's going on. If you enjoy a story, you enjoy a story. If you don't like a story, you don't like a story. I don't get mixed up in that drama of what's happening with editorial and whatnot, right? Because I can maybe preach that until I'm blue in the face. They're not going to listen to me. They're going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. They're going to hire who they're going to hire at the end of the day. And really that's not, and that's it, right? I can only give you my opinion on the stories that I like and dislike. And if you guys follow my opinion to buy a story, that's great. And then at the very end of the day, you're going to make a decision if you like that comic book or not. Right. So I really don't get mixed up in that stuff so much, because like I said, it is what it is. Do I think comics are different from the way they are yesterday? Yes, absolutely. Are comics different from what they were in the 70s to the 80s, or from the 70s to the 90s? Yes. 90s to 2000s. Yes. There's always comics that change. They're always changing, whether they're for the better or for the worse. Again, that's all your opinion. But I do know that comics are against a heavy competition today compared to where they were yesterday, right? I mean, look at all the entertainment that you have accessible to you today when it comes to media, right? You got movies, you got live streaming, you got video games, you got phones, you got all that stuff, where comics back in the day, right? That's all, your entertainment was TV and books. And if you wanted to take it a step further, you had comic books. Now you got manga. I mean, there's all kinds of things out there. And so why part of the reason that maybe comics has lost their punch or sales is because of just other media out there. You know what I'm saying? So again, I still enjoy it. If you like stories and you want to share with your friends out there and let them know that a story is good, let them know. It's so easy to be negative and spread all that negativity around. And I think when we do that, it fires people up, and then it doesn't entice people to buy comics. That's why I hate being negative towards comics. Now, if there's a poor comic, I'll let you know. But I hate being negative towards the industry because, again, that doesn't help anybody, right? So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on there. EMC sends a super chat. I appreciate it. Congratulations on the 10 years. Have a beer on me. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the super chat. It definitely helps. Steve says, nice super chat. I love it. I had to bring my water with me today. There's no beer in here. All right, let's talk about the next comic. Then we'll move on to some more of the more of the comments here. Okay, so let's go here. Next one, we're moving on to, I think we're at number 6, right? Number 6 goes to Venom Lethal Protector issue 2. So again, if there's comics out there that you don't like the modern day comics, they, at least at Marvel, are writing old school like comics, like with the old school creators. And you have David Mikellini on Venom issue 2. So check out this cover. How awesome is that cover, right? That is the main cover right there. Here is some of your interior artwork. And I love the way this book looks on the inside. It's so well done. And what better is it to have Hydro Man on the cover, right? I mean, the dude, not on the cover, but in the interior arts, but Hydro Man is just like, he's kind of like a B-lister, right? But he's still pretty badass. And we get to see a cool fight here between Venom and Hydro Man. It's a fun fight. And we get Eddie Brock is trying to do some investigating on why people are out to go after him. Okay. And he goes to the Daily Globe. I guess that was the place where was it the place where he used to work? Because he used to work at the Daily Bugle, but maybe it was another ex job. He knew the passwords and he was trying to find out information on the Humbug, because that's the dude that's trying to go after him and kill him. And it was pretty cool. I like the relationship between the symbiote and Eddie as well. And they do get to do a battle amongst each others. And then Venom winds up victorious, right? If you like old school Venom, old school Spider-Man storytelling, right? Old school comics, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get that storytelling. So if that's up your alley, this is the comic for you. It's nothing big. It's nothing explosive. It's nothing modern. But it's something that's safe and that maybe older readers could actually enjoy. So I liked Venom Lethal Protector. He meets up with some lady that's been, I guess, investigating him at the end of this issue. And he looks like he's going to be doing a job in exchange for getting rid of these sonic blasters that are his weakness. So I don't know. Interesting book. I like the art. I like the story overall. Again, I'm a sucker for Venom. I actually like this book better than the current Venom series. And so even though I'm still reading it, I can always go back to this. So that's why I definitely would recommend that if you're an old Venom fan. All right. So let's see. We got a couple comments, I think, that I missed before. Let's see. Cameron says, haven't picked up Pull yet. Been down in Orlando for a convention. Love the shows. Are you in MegaCon? Because MegaCon is going on starting today. I'm actually going to MegaCon on Sunday. So if you guys are in the Florida area or in the area, that's where I'll be on Sunday if you want to stop by and say hi. Let's see. We did do that one. And I think we did the one before that. We got the nice super chat comment. Killsfire said, love the philosophy and attitude. Steve says, your Facebook page is great spot to chat. Great group there. Yeah, if you guys haven't joined the Facebook group page, I say it a lot on my comic book calls, but it's Comic Book Corner 2.0 Webheads Unite. It's not a page, it's a group. I always say page, but it's an actual group. And once you apply, I'll look over it and making sure that you're a legit person and try not to be some spammer or bot or anything like that. And then you'll be part of this comic book community where everyone goes on there, chats, asks questions, shows off the books that they picked up for the week or shows off their hauls or stuff like that. And it's just a great community where I love everyone to come together, a safe place, be positive, and just have fun. And that's what it's for. And it's grown quite a bit over the past, I think I've been doing it almost 2 years or just 2 years now. I got about 1,400 followers over there as well. So go ahead and join it. Facebook group, Comic Book Corner 2.0 Webheads Unite. So go ahead and check that out. Chili Peen says, I really liked 8 Billion Genies. How many of you guys out there read 8 Billion Genies? If you haven't, and if it's still on the racks, I say go out there, pick up 8 Billion Genies. Phenomenal read. So well done. Loved the cutesy little genies in it as well. But if you haven't, it's about everybody getting one wish, and they all have their own little genie. And think about it, when everyone in the world actually has one wish. What would you do with that wish? Would you take a minute and think about it? Or does the world come to a complete end because no one thinks about anything? Or do you wish for everyone else's wishes? It's a really great book. All right, we have Lad D. That seems like people wish the Lethal Protector series would become the ongoing rather than the current Venom. There is going to be an audience for that, for sure. There's definitely going to be people that want that Lethal Protector to be an ongoing, but this could be an ongoing. I don't know if it is a miniseries, but why not have both? Why not have a story that takes place in the past, and why not have a story that takes place in the present? And why can't they be both ongoing? I like that. And then you pick what you want, right? All right. Twig and 8 Billion Genies are my favorite of the most recent books I get. Twig was a fun first issue. For me, I know a lot of people loved it and it blew them out of the water. I liked it. I thought it was a great little adventure for this character. But I wanted a little bit more out of it, but I'm definitely on board with it. Here's the man right here. We got Ken from Arizona. Ken has definitely been on the Facebook group for a long time. I think he was like one of the first people to ever join it. And he's been following the channel a really long time. What's up, Ken? Thanks for tuning in. Facebook user says, I love your Facebook group. It's the most positive group of comic fans that I know of. I appreciate that. I'm sure there's other positive people out there. That's just always been me. I've always been very passionate about comics, and I look through the bad and I try to find the good in everything, even when there is a bad comic. Killfire says, I have not had a chance to get genies. Yeah, definitely go ahead and check it out. Sean says, I read 8 billion. That's good. Definitely. Ronnie says, I love the live stream. Great show as usual. Appreciate all the help picking out some comics I would have probably missed. I mean, when I started YouTube, I've said this before. I thought that I was the only person doing YouTube that's like, oh, I'm going to be the only guy out there talking about comic books, And when I started even 10 years ago, there was a lot of people talking about comics in a very different way, though. They were all about the stories back then, and now it's mostly about spec, and people don't talk about the stories as much. I like to do a little bit of everything. Like, I like to talk about the stories. I love to talk about what I pick up. And that comic book haul series that I do has been the one original series that I have stuck with since I started YouTube. That's why there's 530 episodes of it. But the way the comic community has grown, it's been crazy, and like I said, I like doing a little bit of everything. I love being a collector of comics. I love being a reader of comics, and it's just a lot of fun. But I still want to focus on the stories, not just the spec, mainly because we have to remember why we fell in love with comics to begin with. And if we don't buy comics for the new readership, then I feel like they're going to go away. And hopefully they won't. But I want to be entertained by the stories as well, not just the collectability of it, So, yeah, that's that. All right. So let's see. What else we got? Cameron says, how about freaking Life Zero? Yeah, Life Zero. We're going to talk about that. Sean Ali says, that's an eerie book. Are we talking about Life Zero? Lad says, I've been enjoying indies like We Live, Age of Paladins, and Armor Clads. Haven't read any of those. Unfortunately, never read We Live. And then we have Facebook user says, afternoon from sunny England. Whoa, man, that is a far way to watch. I appreciate that as well. All right, so we're not doing too bad, I guess, for, on the spur of the moment thing, 35 viewers. I'm not like breaking the internet. I don't get like 200 viewers, but I think it's a nice little group here. So we're going to continue going forward. And I think we're on number 5, right? The top 5 right now. So speaking of Life Zero, Life Zero falls in the number 5 spot this week, unfortunately. Love this cover art by Chiquetto. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. The interior art is just as good. I love the detail of the characters. I think they're absolutely amazing. Good action in this book, but not as heavy action as, say, previous issues. This is kind of the aftermath of what happened to the husband and wife's daughter. That's what happens there in this book. So we get to see a couple of people have been eliminated: Helena, Zach, and in this issue we lose somebody else. So this is just a little bit spoiler territory if you guys haven't read Life Zero. In the last issue, this whole book was about these two, husband and wife, was actually going after to find their kid. Went missing, was at the social worker's house. They find the kid, and the kid winds up being infected by a zombie bite, and one of their own winds up killing the kid with no mercy, right? And so in this issue, we wind up seeing the aftermath of that. The wife is beside herself. They're heading back to base. They have to stop some zombies. And then let's just say that, the guy kind of gets revenge back on the guy that killed the daughter, which is crazy. But what happens in this issue is like, you don't see so much grieving in this issue. It like they leave the apartment, they're heading back to base. And I feel like there was a lot of stuff that happened off panel that I would have loved to read in this book. And I feel like they had to rush it along because this book might be only like 6 issues and they didn't want to drag it out at all. And I was like, man, I was so emotionally tied to this story. You did not get to see a lot of emotion out of the wife after the loss of her daughter, right? And you get to witness what happens to the wife in this book at the end. And that was emotionally driven as well. Again, I would have loved to seen more stuff that happened in the book instead of happening off panel, but I don't want to give away too much. But Life Zero is a really good series. After issue 1, this book picked up a lot. In issue 3, it was like, oh shit. And then issue 4 is like, you're really into it. And you're just like, oh man, they left out way too much. But I definitely recommend this. Hopefully when this comes out in trade, you guys can read it. Artwork is absolutely exquisite. Such a phenomenal book. 40 viewers. All right. We broke the 40 mark. I am excited. All right. So let's see. We got a super chat. So I'm going to highlight that first from Ken. Ken says, have fun at MegaCon. My con is at the end of the month. Phoenix Fan Fusion. That's a fancy name right there. I like that, Ken. Hopefully you get some cool stuff, and whatever you pick up at the con, Ken, I want to see it in the Facebook group. I love when you show your stuff. This man has been collecting comics and selling comics for years, so definitely show your stuff on the Facebook group, Ken. He gets all kinds of stuff, and he loves to play golf too. That's like comics and golf is his passion, right? All right. What else we got here for new ones? Here we go. Here's a comment right here. It is the everything aspect that is attractive with comics, art, stories, investment, hoarding. It's great. Exactly. I mean, why do you guys collect comic books or read comics? What's it for? There's so many reasons to collect comics, right? And that's what makes this hobby so good. Nothing is wrong. You can do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's collecting for the grade, right? Slabbing, reading, doing the hunting, organizing, right? It's like there's so much to do with your comic books. It's so much fun. I don't know how many times I go through my collection that's right over there, and I flip through my books to try to remember what I have or get them in better order, and then pull out a book and show it on the Facebook group or whatever it is. I love that. Yesterday I got this 9.4 Amazing Spider-Man 362. Like I hung it up, replaced it with the Spawn book, and I put the Spawn book up there. And I'm like, oh shit, that goes with my Carnage and my Venom. Stupid shit like that got me super excited, not even meaning to do that. I just did it just because that's where I wanted to put it, and it kind of fits my Spider-Man theme in the background. I'm like, dude, that makes it even better, So stupid stuff gets me excited. Not much takes to get me excited. So how I get excited for comics still to this day, I don't know. I just love it. It's just been a lifelong passion, All right, so here we go. We got Josh says, glad I jumped on Life Zero. Thanks for the recommendation. I'm glad you like it. Hopefully you read this week's issue. My store only got a few copies of Life Zero, another miss for me. Like I said, when it comes to these small publishers, get these books on your pull list immediately if you can. That's why I've been doing some of these FOC videos, because it highlights some of these small publishers that are releasing books that you might want to check out. So then this way you can let your publisher know, hey, are you still going to be getting Life Zero in? Can you put it on my pull list? This way it guarantees you a copy, right? Life Zero, it's top book, great artwork. Jeffrey says, Spider Slayer gang. Yeah, there we go. Cody, spoiler warning after the spoiler. LOL. I did warn you at the beginning of the video. There is spoilers, and there's always spoilers in the after the poll stuff. I put it on there on the show. I try not to spoil everything. It's hard not to talk about some of these books without spoiling it, but I try. I try to limit them. Oh, here we go. I skipped this one. Trev says, what's up, peeps? What's up, Trev? Todd says, I often read a book with my wife, and she's always even too afraid to read zombie stories. This book is one that she loves to read with me. That's great. Did you guys read Walking Dead? I did. Walking Dead was the best when it was at its peak. Jacob says, toys with Robin Williams. Chili says, I do same. The Walking Dead comics. And we got one more here. What do we got? 5:30 p.m. in the UK, just having my tea. Great show. Glad you can have tea and watch this. If I drank tea, I would melt. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm literally sweating because it's so hot. I got this fan, ain't doing anything, but I'm drinking out of my Venom Turvis. So I guess that's something, right? All right, so Life Zero is number 5. We're going to move on to number 4. Curious to hear if you guys are reading World's Finest issue 3. That is what's on number 4 this week. Now, again, all these books are subjected to get kicked out of the top 5 based off of Comic Book Weekly when I read the rest of my books for the rest of the week. So World's Finest, Dan Mora artwork, really good. I really love this stuff here. Let me get rid of that real quick. I think his artwork is so good, man. And I'm glad he's doing the artwork. Check out this artwork here with Robin, which I think you guys told me it's Tim Drake in there. And Supergirl is in there, which I think is cool. And then we got introduced to this new house from the past. I think it was like, I don't know, early Japan years or whatever it was. I forgot when this takes place. The house of, is it Jai? I don't even know. And it's in the Mont Blanc, Switzerland. So, yeah, it takes place. No, it's not there. That was taking place somewhere else. Excuse me. See, if this was an edited version, I would have to edit that out and start this over. But this book is fun. There's a lot of great character interactions in this book when it comes to, I think, Tim Drake and Supergirl. They're trying to find this new villain, this devil guy. Totally forgot what his name is as well. And he's like manipulating all the villains to try to take out, Batman, Superman and whatnot, and Doom Patrol. So they're going all around time to find him. And then what Tim Drake and Supergirl did, they had to go back into the past and find out any information on this devil guy, on how they entrapped him and how he escaped and whatnot. So it's a pretty cool book. I love how this villain actually, again, is using the villains to try to stop all of our heroes here. But by the time we wind up getting to the end of this book, it's not just heroes, just not villains, it's heroes, right, as well. And there's somebody that's very important in this book where this Devil King is kind of possessing. And you see that at the end of this issue. World's Finest is a fun book. It's kind of like old school DC. It's a more lighthearted. It's not so dark. It's got great artwork, like I said. I love all these character interactions. Not sure when this book takes place, though. Like what era of DC? I guess you can relate back to when Tim Drake was Robin. So I guess that's how far back it takes place. I guess that's the era. But when was that? I don't even know because I didn't read DC Comics back then, you know? So definitely a recommend book. Hit that number 4 spot. Had a lot of fun with it. Not as strong as I would say as the second issue, because what made the second issue for me was even better character interaction. And there was a decent amount of Doom Patrol in this book. And I'm not a huge fan of Doom Patrol because I don't have that history with them. So I would like less Doom Patrol and more Tim Drake and Kara in the book, right? So yeah. So let's see what we got here. Killfire says, I just started collecting last year, got into the full Spencer run on Amazing Spider-Man, and haven't looked back. Ironically, I like the story and found out later people hate it. Listen, I can truly understand where you're coming from. If you just get into the hobby, there's always this time and period where it is going to be the run that you prefer over anything else. So for me, when I got into comics, especially Spider-Man, that was my gateway into comics, was Spider-Man, right? That time period right there. For me, there'll be nothing better than this time period, that time period, the Todd McFarlane stuff. I will always revert back to that, and I will always say that is the best Spider-Man for me, right? Because that's how I was introduced into comics, right? We've had so many other runs when it's come to Spider-Man. I'm not saying they were bad. They're just they weren't as entertaining for me, right? Nick Spencer's run, I think, started off strong, but it wound up fizzling out and it wound up being dragged out too long. When you have a villain that, and this is just my opinion, when you have a villain that takes 50 something issues to reveal, that's way too decompressed. I hate that, you know, like give them to me in 8 issues, right? Why do we need like how Venom was introduced? Again, I'll go back to that time period. You know, Venom was cameoed, right? And then all of a sudden he made that appearance, made that big splash. And Kindred, you're like waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then what do you find out? He's a fucking clone. And it's just like, and it wasn't him. It was like 2 people. And you're like, oh, you know, but if you liked it, and this was the first Spider-Man stories that you liked, that's awesome, right? And don't be afraid to tell people that, okay? Just that's your favorite time period. And someone says, well, that wasn't mine. That's okay. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. No one is ever wrong. That's what makes this hobby so good, okay? You can disagree, right? You can debate, right? But don't put somebody down because they liked something, okay? Just remember that. All right, here we have Facebook user said, just finished the Sandman Compendium, so freaking good. You know what? I never got into Sandman. I heard about it, and I just felt like I'm so far. There's so much history, like it's too late for me. I think if I didn't do YouTube, I probably could get into it. But, dude, it's just, I got a lot to read, you know, every single week. So unfortunately, I don't know if I'll ever get into it. All right, here we go. Trev says, Florida, like Texas, is brutal humidity. Yeah, man, that just started kicking in this week. I mean, all of a sudden now we're at 95, 96. I think today is going to be 96 degrees, and the rain is starting tomorrow. So it's going to be tough. I got a couple announcements too, guys, at the end of the show. Hopefully you guys will stick around for it. AWA and Ablaze have been amazing lately. Ablaze has been good. AWA has had some great stories. I definitely agree. Want to shout out to the 46 viewers right now. So that's much better than 30, right? Or I just lost one. So 45, I bored somebody. World's Finest, surprising series so far. Good so far. That's awesome. Good. Glad you like it. Todd says, World's Finest is the only book I opened so far. I was too excited and needed to dig in immediately. My first book was Life Zero. It took me 2 minutes to read it. Not a lot of dialogue this week. World's Finest is just so much fun. La Chant. I can't say your name. I'm sorry. And if anybody knows my channel, I am a butcher when it comes to names. Everyone makes fun of me about it, but says, oof. Just picked up World's Finest 1 variant cover with Batman slapping Superman by chance and got World's Finest 3 yesterday. Now I am missing issue 2. And so it continued right there. All right. Trev says, World's Finest Dark Knights of Steel are DC's best right now. Too bad they didn't have that variant cover at my shop for World's Finest with the Joker who laughs on there, or Batman who laughs. Heat stroke. Reason why I collect comics and toys is my stress reliever, a way for me to not think about work and stress in life. Right there, right there with you, man. We all need some kind of escape, and this is it. This is why I got into comics, not necessarily for the value of comics originally, but it was to get away, read those stories, right? All right. Doc says, great point. I started with McFarlane's Torment, and I'm in the minority. Still excited about JR coming back to Amazing Spider-Man. Listen, I'm not a fan of his artwork. I loved him in Kick-Ass because I thought it fit that street level type of book, right? But for Spider-Man, I get that he did Spider-Man, and I think in Straczynski's run. But I think there needs to be someone like a Todd McFarlane that can animate Spider-Man to that degree. Eric Larson was another one. Bagley is another one, right? Those types of artists, that's what you need on Spider-Man. I think Gleason did a good job with it as well. I just think, JR is just not where it's at right now for that title. All right, here we go. It's J. Michael Straczynski's Spider-Man for me. Would have been perfect if the ending wasn't such a train wreck. Yeah, that's a pretty good run too. Same, but for me, that's just not my jam. Sandman just isn't really my style. All right. In Montana, almost no humidity here. Feels good. All right. I'll get back to some more comments in a few minutes here as we're going to talk about the number 3 book so far this week for me. Again, these are all subject to change. This is a new book from Skybound. This is, let me take this one off. This one is I Hate This Place. Or, what was it? I Hate This Effing Place. I wound up getting both covers for that. This book was quite interesting. I liked it. Here's some of the interior artwork. The people in here look a little bit bulky, right? They're like a little square. And we got these two, I don't know. I think they're just in a relationship. They're 2 girlfriends, right? Going to live together. They inherited this farmhouse from the aunt. And the main character here, she does not really have any memories of her aunt. They never went to the house. And I don't know if it is your fiance or girlfriend. She's like, well, why don't you remember ever going there? She's like, I was there once. That's it. And you just find out some crazy, weird stuff about this house, right? They move in, and their plan is to move in for a year, sell the cattle, fix up the place, and then sell it and make a lot of money off of it. It's 500 acres, right? And, they get settled in, they spend the night there, and some weird shit's happening, right? The cows start mooing, and all of a sudden there's these ghosts that appear, and they're freaked out. And there's these UFOs that come from the sky. You get to see that happening in the book. And there was this little room that was in the house. And when this event would happen, I guess the family would go into the soundproof room to kind of deafen them or not experience all the supernatural activities that was going on in this house. And now they're spooked out, and they're trying to, tough it out here for a year to see if they can stay here and then sell off this property. There's a crazy twist at the end of this book too, that you saw at the beginning of this book. So there was a character at the beginning, something happened, and then he shows up again at the end. Crazy, weird, supernatural book, has a very good horror tone to it. Again, like I said earlier, I love horror books. So if you're looking for something different, you haven't been to the shop yet, check out I Hate This Place. It might still be on the rack. This was good, and you don't want to come across this guy, because if you do, some crazy shit's going to happen to you. We don't know yet. It's just a warning in the book. Don't come across the horned man, right? So I Hate This Place. Definitely a cool book. All right. So let's see. Where are we at? No, I lost my place now. Here we go. Jacob says, Marvel Fantastic Four, Phase 4, Secret Invasion, Secret, I think that says Secret Invasion. It said Secret Invitation, ending with a new Endgame, Secret Wars. Are we talking about, okay, so you talk about Marvel movies. So I'm curious to see where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. I like Doctor Strange personally. I know some people had a little issue with it. I loved it. I thought it was a great movie, very entertaining. The only thing I did not like about that movie is I did not like America Chavez. I did not like her character. I thought she didn't have anything to add to the movie. I get she was only used basically as a plot device. That's what I got out of her. So in future movies, hopefully she gets better. But for me, there was nothing special about her, right? But I like Scarlet Witch. I like Doctor Strange. I thought Scarlet Witch was the standout in this movie. I love the horror elements of this movie, and I wish they had more of them on there because those horror elements were really, really good. Let's see. Norman says, really liking Town Called Terror. Good art and story so far. I'm glad you liked it. We talked about it, and it's an intriguing story. I wish it gave me a little bit more besides the dude like tearing up his brother, you know, and it's just a little, maybe it's a little too dark, not as in dark as it's a dark book. I just mean the artwork is really dark and it's hard to make out certain things that happen in it. Right. All right. Tevia joins the show, says hello. Welcome, Tevia. Facebook user says, anybody remember the Mage series from Matt Wagner or manga series from Matt Wagner? Love that book. Also agree Sandman is probably the pinnacle of storytelling. Vlad was like the moose. Love it. See, that would be something that would edit out of the video, right? I do shit like that all the time, and there's so much editing. It's crazy. Trev says, sounds like the Jordan Peele's new horror movie. What is it called? Do you know? Just let me know. All right. Great comments, guys. Thank you so much. Let's move on now to number 2. So this was a new book that came out this week, a new volume to this. And I think and this has legacy numbering on it. So if you're following that legacy numbering, it's legacy numbering 29 of the Savage Avengers. It's the all new, all different Savage Avengers. Didn't we already do that with Marvel 10 years ago? So we have that going on. Here's your cover. So this team consists of Cloak and Dagger. There's so many people on there, you can't even fit it on the cover. Cloak and Dagger all the way in the back. You got Weapon H. I got corrected finally because I kept forgetting his name. So I was always calling him Wolverine or Hulklerine, right? And then you got Anti-Venom, who is really Agent Venom, but they have him like this on the cover. You got the Black Knight, and you got Dane Whitman in there. You have Elektra, right? She's in there as Daredevil. Deathlock, this is very deceiving based off of what happens in this issue. And then you have Conan, right? Deathlock's not a good guy in this book. He is a villain in this book, right? So let's check out the interior artwork. Interior artwork, really good. Here we get to see Agent Venom in this book hanging upside down. Really cool. This book had a lot in it. This was a lot to digest. So if you have not read this book, guys, I say definitely read this book when you haven't read a lot of issues, or don't read it when you're sleepy, or make this the first book you read, because again, there's a lot of story to tell. And I appreciate that, right? This book, what you do get out of it is you get a lot about the characters in here and how they become a team. And they do battle against Deathlock in this issue. Deathlock is definitely a very formidable foe against Conan in this book. And check out the artwork there. That's pretty badass. Reminded me a little bit of Predator because he was just like, he was, stealth device. He was cloaked. And they do this battle and nothing can stop this Deathlock. There was a sigh in his shoulder and Elektra's like, focus on his shoulder because that's the injured part. And Conan did. And they wound up doing this fight. They battled each other, right? And what happens is when they hit Deathlock's like time thing on his shoulder or his backpack, it opened up this portal and they go back to Conan's time, right? And that's where they wind up going back to. So they go back to this time, and now this entire team is in Conan's time. Deathlock's there, and he's going to be hunting him down. So that's basically what the story was about. Not too much with the main plot, but again, I appreciate them trying to get the team together and how they got the team together and the fight and all the action in this book as well. So I thought it was really good, man. This was a book that wasn't like decompressed. I mean, it wasn't a decompressed story. It was very compressed. And it was just like they wanted to give you all the action and info so they can get to the next portion of the story right away. So I liked All New, All Different Savage Avengers, especially from a person that's not a huge fan of Conan and that did not read the last volume. So I'll be on issue 2 for sure. So this is definitely a recommend. All right, so let's go to your guys' comments here. And I appreciate the 56 viewers that are watching. Guys, give this video a thumbs up. Take the second to go ahead and do it. Let other people know it exists, right? So let's see, where were we with this now? I think we were right. Okay, so we were right here. That movie. Trev said that movie is called Nope. Okay, cool. Killfire says all new. That's right. And then we have Tevia says, any opinion on Marvel losing the rights to Conan the Barbarian? No, I really don't. Like, I was never a huge fan of Conan anyway. Conan was part of Marvel to begin with. Then it went elsewhere. Then it came back, and now it's going elsewhere again. I guess he's staying in the Savage Avengers. That's fine. It's no loss for me. You just read it somewhere else, right? Jenny's Comic Life's like, Hope Farine. Yes, that's right. Poor Conan. Facebook user says, who would you pick as your favorite artist at the moment? Not just covers, but interior artwork. Oh my God, I don't know. It's so hard to just come up with one. Nick Klein. Chiquetto is a really great artist as well. I'm trying to think of the books that I read off of the top of my head. D'Amora. I love Patrick Gleason. I thought he was really good too. I'm always a fan of Todd McFarlane. Always will be. Not that he does so much artwork. But those are just some of them. Favorite cover artists like Art Germ, Campbell, McFarlane, those are just some of the few. Let's see. We got that. Just got that one. We'll see where Savage Avengers goes with Marvel losing the Conan license. Yeah, he could like stay back in time, right? And then he doesn't come back, and then you get the rest of the Avengers. I ended up deciding not to pick this up. I could understand that. Norrin Rad, welcome. That book won't go nowhere, though. Marvel just lost the rights to Conan. Yeah, I understand. Like I just said, if he goes away, then I could see that book being canceled. It could be like a 6-issue thing, and then it'd be done if they decide to take him all the way off. Cool Comic Guy says, is Elektra still Daredevil? I have a few Daredevil 25s, but thought she was not using Daredevil name anymore. Yeah, she still is. You got to read the Daredevil Devil's Reign book that's getting ready to come out next week, the aftermath of that. All right. And then we have, I skipped it because I would buy it for Conan only. Killfire says, Conan gets to stay in the book, I think. Yeah, see, that's what I heard too. How would you end Conan's story now that his rights are gone from Marvel Comics? You just kill him off, or he stays back. It's like, oh, I'm back in my homeland. I decided to go back. I'm going to stay here. Bye, guys. And then you don't see him anymore in the Marvel Comics. That's how you end it. Really easy. Let's see. They're probably writing him out. Yeah, very possible. They'll probably phase him out or just make it a limited series. Yeah, you guys all have pretty much the same thoughts. Apparently, Marvel gets to keep using Conan for Savage Avengers. Yep, so we got that. That's what the rumor is, right? Let's see. Redondo, if they stop giving him halftone dot shading. Got it. Here's this one. Tevia says, any opinion on Deceased 3 getting title called Deceased Undead Gods? Because frankly, I'm so excited for this. When Tom Taylor was announcing that he had something to announce, my initial thought was Deceased. That was the first thing. And sure enough, it was a Deceased title. I am so on board. Some of his best comics right there. I loved it, right? He's from the Savage Land, so still Savage Avengers. I just went to go click on something, the whole thing highlighted. I love Patrick Gleason and Jorge Jimenez and the late George Perez. Love your channel, dude. I'm starting to get into reading comics now, mainly Spider-Man. That's my favorite Marvel character. That's a lot of Marvel. People's Marvel character is Spider-Man, right? There's a lot to go read when it comes to Spider-Man. Find an era that you like and dive in and enjoy. I said it earlier. Mine is that 90s Spider-Man. How do you say, is it Kazar? Is it Kazar? How do you say that, right? Todd says, for interior artwork, is it Jorge Corona knocked it out of the park? Then Me You Love in the Dark. Yes. The Me You Love in the Dark was so good. His artwork there was awesome. I think he did an issue of like Batgirls and it was like completely different, right? I think it was just the team that he had around. Tevia says, indeed, and I am very intrigued on how Deceased 3 is going to turn out, and seeing John and Damian being there, their father is awesome. My favorite artist will always be Jim Lee. Mine is Tom DeFalco Spider-Man next to Spider-Girl era. What do you got here? Yasmin Poultry kills every issue of Dark Knights that she is on. And Chris says, why doesn't Marvel make a Marvel versus Star Wars event? that would be different, right? Man, you would talk about like some interesting storytelling right there. 59 viewers. Can we get 60? Thumbs up this video, guys. Let people know that it exists. We're moving on to number 1. My number 1 comic so far this week, but I still got some books to read. And I can't reach them to show you what they are, but we will talk about my number 1. I am sweating pretty bad. I probably stink really bad right now, too. My God, it's so freaking hot. All right, so next goes to Thor issue 25, The Banner of War, part 2 of 5. This book was really good. The only thing why this would not stay number 1 if it holds on, if it doesn't hold on, is the price. And then you get these 2 backup stories that are very forgettable, right? I was like, oh man, here we go. Paying $6 for stories that you really don't want. You can make this story, longer, right? So here we go. We have the artwork in here, which is good. You got a little panel with Spider-Man and the Ravens, right? And then you got Odin in here. So that's really good as well. Here's some more artwork in here. You get to see Odinson in like the engine room trying to talk to Banner, which was really cool. And you find out, guys, what has happened in old El Paso, Texas. I'm not spoiling that shit. You know, you guys know that I spoil stuff, but I'm not spoiling it. You find out what happens in old El Paso on what Banner does, and it's dark. and it's gruesome and it's gory. He doesn't really know how it happened, but it just happens. And now you know why the Avengers are out to go after him. Iron Man is going after him because he knows his location, and he has the craziest Hulkbuster armor you have ever seen. It's like freaking anime over-exaggerated armor. It's just absolutely insane. It says, Sean goes, turn on the AC. Sean, I'm in my garage, dude. There is no AC. This is all I have right here, this freaking fan, and I just unplugged it or it broke. That is bad right there. I just did something bad. I need to plug it in. Let me see if I can plug it in. Hold on. Stay with me, guys. I unplugged my fan. It's all the way over here. Yes. Oh, God. Sorry, guys. That's what happens when you're out here for an hour. Usually I'm not here an hour doing a video. That's really nice. That's actually good. Oh, man. Whew. All right, that bought me some time. I got to put it on some kind of pedestal or something. Woo. All right, there we go. I need one of those like portable ACs. I am, believe it or not, kind of used to it, obviously, because I teach tennis. So I'm out here in the heat for 4 or 5 hours at a time. It's just that still air that gets to you, you know? Here we go. I haven't read Thor yet. That's why I didn't want to spoil it, but it's a really good read. Again, it's just a little bit overpriced, and it gives you those backup stories. Iron Angel. Is that what he called it? Is that what it's called? So cool, man. Cool comic guy. Only books in the Thor Banner of War run will be alpha because it's the first Thor using Odin hammer and Odin in Banner's head. And the one we know is coming when Titan trashes Thor. Okay. Dude, you look like you're about to melt. We got some laughing going on in the chat here. That's awesome. He must have destroyed the whole town. Oh, man, wait till you read it. Like, wait till you read it. You're going to find out what happens. It's completely different, too. Like, it's something that Banner can't control, okay? Tevi is like, nice. Trev says, Mike's having problems. I was scared you might have broken your fan. That's it, man. That's the only cool source I have. I would have to go out and buy a new fan, right? It's like 95 degrees in California last weekend. That's what it is today. And I decided to do a live show today of all days. But yeah. And then we got Jenny's Comic Life, who's putting in all the kinds of, super chat stickers. So I appreciate that for being a member of the channel. Now you just need the guy on the lawnmower. Dude, when I started this, though, the lawnmower guy just like drove by. I'm like, no, you ain't starting that shit right now. You ain't not driving that lawnmower and doing lawns at this time of day when I got to do this live show. It's always the worst times. Cool Comic Guy says, get an Arctic Blast. So I looked at the Arctic Blast, right? But what I found out is that it spits out a lot of humidity. And being that I have these books around here, I don't want to create more humidity around these books than I already have. Now, they're always bagged and board, except for when I show them on a video, right? But still, I just did not want to create that in that moisture and the moisture around the actual like electronics and stuff. I don't know. Do you have one? Like, let me know if it's good. Then maybe I will go out and buy one. But that's what I looked up. And then let's see. We got... No, he didn't call that, but that's just what I thought. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Hope that Florida heat doesn't melt you in those lovely slabs on your wall. No, that doesn't affect that stuff. Like, it's hot a few months out of the year. It doesn't melt those slabs. It really doesn't affect the comics. I have all my comics in here. You know, it's only really hot for a couple hours a day in here. But it does, the comics hold up pretty good. People are like, how do you keep your comics in here? This would be the only place. This is the only place in my house that I can keep these comics. So, however, the really expensive books that I have, they're kept in the AC. All the ones that are, you know, maybe lower grade or not that expensive, they're in good shape, man. Believe it or not. So I've kept them in garage for years, and I always check on them and making sure that they're okay. So let's see. I felt confused with Thor 25, especially with the Banner of War. Man, you shouldn't feel confused. I understand being confused about Banner being in this engine room and Hulk being Hulk and whatnot. It's kind of a hard thing to explain what Donnie is doing, but it's very interesting and it's a little bit unique. Is anyone else still read Savage? What is that? Savage Die? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that says. Cool comic book guy says Catwoman 43 would have been my number one. All great covers with the amazing 1 in 25. With the first appearance in the book, may be the big winner of the week, in my opinion. I have not read Catwoman at all. I did buy the Jenny Frison cover, though. I did buy that one. All right. So those are all the comments right now. And I got 53 viewers still on. So I appreciate you guys watching. Real quick, I just want to let you guys know while you're on here, my summertime is here. I am starting my tennis summer camp within the next 10 days. So it'll be the day after Memorial Day. I work pretty much almost all day for most of the time. So what you can expect from me is you will see probably a little bit less videos for the month of July and August. I'm sorry, June and July. You'll see a little bit less videos from me just because I won't have time to do as many because I work from 8:30 in the morning to 12:30 in the morning. And then a lot of the times from 4 to 8. So that gives me a very small window. In that window, I need to recoup, not stay in a garage and film. So one of the series that won't be here every single week will be this one just for the summertime because I won't have enough time to read those books. Maybe I'll do a smaller version, maybe a top 3, a top 2, something like that. And you're just not going to see as much. But again, August will come back around. This video series will be in full blast. Everything will be in full blast. And, and that's that, but I love doing this content every single day. I love bringing it to you guys. This has become such a passion of mine. It's so much fun to do, So here we go. We got a couple comments here real quick. Personally, I think Flash 782 is my number one. I got to get on Flash, man. Ireland, Justin from Ireland. Wow, thanks, Justin from Ireland. I appreciate you watching. It was great hanging out with you today. Thanks, Todd. Jenny says, Pete Sampras or Andre Agassi? I started playing tennis because of Andre Agassi. I wanted to be just like him and have all his clothes. I did have all his clothes, actually. Got to make that paper. Chill, dude. And then I got Tevia says, I understand. Yep, he says chill. Yeah, he's laughing at the chill dude also. I think the current Donnie run on Hulk is great. Such an original idea. Splitting Hulk banner is 3 identities. The current story arc also got me reading Thor again. So that's really fun. I agree. I never was a huge Thor fan until Donnie Cates' run. And now I am. I think it's great. I think it's great. What do we got here? Tennis camp sounds fun. It's fun and hot. Cool Comics. Can we get a recap of the top 5 for those who missed the first few, please? Absolutely, you can. So I'll give you the top 8 just to make it straight. Does that rhyme? I'm so dumb and cheesy. It's because I'm old. What do we got? All right. Coming in at number 8. Remember, this order can change. Shadow War Zone, issue 1. That was number 8. We hide this. Number 7, A Town Called Terror, issue 2. Good book. I just want a little bit more in-depth story plot and maybe not so dark artwork. Number 6, we got Venom, Lethal Protector, issue 2. Moving on to the top 5, we had Life Zero, issue 4. A lot of stuff happened off panel that I would have loved to see in this book, and you didn't get it. But interesting ending to the issue. Number 4, World's Finest, issue 3. Solid story. Definitely a recommend for DC fans. Number 3, I Hate This Place, issue 1. This was an interesting story. Don't cross paths with the Horned Man, right? Next, we have Savage Avengers, issue 1. Legacy numbering, issue 29. Comes in at number 2. Will Conan last in this event? Maybe not. And then last but not least, the number 1 so far this week is Thor issue 25. I'm going to get the books that I still have to read that could overtake this top 5. Give me 1 second. It's right around the corner. Not going anywhere. Right? Let's find out what I still have to read right here. And then we're going to close out the show. Because I got to get my kid from school. I got to eat lunch. And I can't have heat stroke. All right. Nightwing. I still have to read that book. Right? So that could overtake. House of Slaughter, issue 6. That can overtake the top 5. That's a variant cover. How many of you guys got this variant cover this week? That was pretty cool. This is not going to take my top 5. Fantastic Four, issue 43. We got that Reckoning War stuff going on. Okay. Immortal X-Men, issue 2. I don't think I'm going to read it. I just bought it really for the cover. I didn't like the first issue. We have Marvel Voices Identity issue 1. Who's this character? I bought it for the cover also. I liked her different color eyeballs. Okay. Venom variant cover. Oh, I debated about reading it. Spider-Punk issue 2. I haven't read it yet. Could this overtake the top 5 or could this be actually dropped? There's your variant cover of the Thor book. This is a good book. This is a really good book. Kaijo Score, Steel of the Gods, issue 2. Aftershock, making some great products right now, man. This is good story. That could overtake top 5. There is Catwoman, issue 43 that we're talking about, that Jenny Frison variant. I love this cover. I hate her cat, though. I just don't like how fuzzy and long hair it is, right? And then, so I got the other version of that cover, and that's what it says. So that's that. So those are the books that can overtake the top 5. And if you want to find that out, tune in to Comic Book Weekly Tuesday night at 10:15 p.m. Eastern, guys. And you'll see what my definitive top 5 is. You'll see Cats, you'll see Brants, and we'll talk about the comic books week's worth of news. And we'll take your questions live once again. Guys, I'll take a few more comments, and then I'm going to close out the show. So here we go. Shadow War Zone was boring. My fab. Awesome. Thank you. My favorite book this week was I Hate This Place. Great book. Nightwing's like, yeah, Nightwing. I'm done with the Reckoning War. Dropped. Was that the Reckoning War comment also? She's from Marvel Mobile Game. Oh, okay. What's her name? From Frost something. There we go. Could be a spec book. Man, if you're reading Nightwing, you need to read Catwoman. Does it tie into it that much? Really? I'm reading all the X books and love them. Hey, I've said this too. If you love X books, that's good for you. I'm just not into this Krakoan age. I don't like the Resurrection Protocol thing. I got some of the Marvel voices for the cover as well. See ya, man. Aftershock, Scout, AWA, and Boom are doing great work these days. Time for some lunch. Thoughts on Maestro? Great book. Definitely recommend reading it. I've read every single series. My favorite book is Flash issue 782. Like I said, I got to check it out. Are you still reading Savage Dragon? I still have it on my pull. I am still reading Savage Dragon. It's been on my pull for years. I have every issue for so long, and it's not that good. And it's delayed by months and months and months. I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep it on my pull. I'm the only person at my shop who reads it. I'm tired of Krakoa nonsense. No Catwoman is just the best DC read right now, in my opinion. And then we have Sarah picked up Shaylone Cowboy, and it's super fun read. That's awesome. Have you read the latest Spawn book? What was the newest one? Kingspawn? Kingspawn is the one book I don't read. I don't find it as good as the others. But I read the last Scorched book, which I thought was cool. So that's it, guys. There you have it. I'm going to go grab some lunch. I am going to get out of this hot garage, and I appreciate it. Here it is. Luna was her name. Luna from the Marvel Voices. Again, guys, thank you so much. This has been a Comic Book Corner 2.0 After the Pull live special. Hopefully, you guys have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your comics, and I'll see you guys on that next video. Take care. See you soon. Bye.